Spider, spider, here come spiders. CFL's red root. Ah, yeah. It's not Halloween. Yeah, Halloween is past. Spider, 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 spider. Many spiders. There's only one spider. Spider CFL's red zone rule. I'm back a little earlier than I said I would be. Spiders. Red zone. Here comes spider. Here comes spiders. CFL's red zone rule. Spider's back. How you doing? Always like to have a little bit of fun here. Just dress it up a little bit. Celebrate a little bit. Celebrate. Celebrate. Dance to the music. Brosy's gone. Good. Brosy's out. Now we gotta end Brosy. I call him Brosy. Dozy. We need a new commissioner. It's better not be another Mbosy. Bullshit Mbosy. You know? Anyway, I'm back. And I made a few mistakes last time. I always do. A few things I said that the Montreal Alouettes, okay, they didn't, in the last 7 games, I guess in the last 5 games, they won 2 and tied 1. Okay, sorry about that. And the awards are great. Moss won. I knew Oliveira would win both Canadian and most valuable player. Bolívar Mitchell was in the running though. It was close, right? And hats off to the other players, 2 Argonauts and 1 offensive lineman, I think, a defensive player, and then special teams, Grant from Winnipeg, and I think, the most outstanding defensive player from Saskatchewan Roughriders. So congratulations to all the winners and so forth. But it was really funny. I just noticed something, okay? And by the way, we're going to have a toast. Hey, I got an Edmund Eskimo. Bring the Edmund Eskimo's name back, okay? Okay, so there you go. Coaster, imagine that. So, here we go. We're gonna crack, not a schooner beer open anymore because they're done. It looks like they are, thanks to Randy Ambrosi, the bullshitter. He lied about the Halifax expansion and the stadium in Halifax. Anyway, this is the 100th and like I think the 9th Grey Cup, I believe. 92nd second Grey Cup in Ottawa, sorry, 2004. Isn't that amazing? They had a promotion, by the way. You bought Canadian Light, you get these glasses. They don't do shit. In our own country, they run down their own brands. They run down the CFL, they ran BlackBerry in the ground. It's all NFL. It's unbelievable. There's no, these are Canadian companies. Bell and Rogers supposed to be a Canadian company. Bell, who's going to lay off more people. Yeah, Trudeau, you're a real winner, you are. You got to go, man. You got to go. And the thing is, there's no promotion. There's no promotions on the Grey Cup in our own country. I was watching CTV more because they didn't even mention it, and they're showing it live this time on CTV. It's unbelievable. They're all a bunch of radical leftist liberal Americans is what they are. Democrat Americans, liars. You know. The people spoke though, didn't they? You know, it just tells you. Trump won last time too in a landslide. They robbed Biden, and when you think he got 81, are you kidding me? Trump probably got 80 million. They stopped the count 75. He got over 77 million, almost 78 this time. Harris got what, 66, and a lot of states she won. All of them she won, and practically in the count is where they had no voter ID and they cheated like crazy. Probably Trump won New York, probably New Jersey too, probably even California. A bunch of criminals, scam bags, and that's exactly what they are too. And you know what? It's about common sense, right? Common sense. It's not about like all the networks in Canada, the United States are all bought off by the left. They're all corrupt. It's unbelievable. Hope when Pierre Poilievre wins, he takes down CTV and Global and CBC. He takes them down. We don't, and same in the United States. You know, they got to go after the corrupt media. And by the way, they're going to go down the states. There'll be no cable media companies anymore, because they're all lies, they're all corrupt, they're all bought off to cover up. Imagine corrupt parties, liberal and Democrat corrupt parties, corrupt. They're so corrupt it's unbelievable, and it's backfired on them because people, they couldn't cheat this time. In the American life, they couldn't cheat. It's too big to rig. Okay, you know, and Trudeau will be gone too. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this and ruin my session. Okay, but anyway, okay. My SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule, I wanted to go on and go over those numbers, and I wanted to read what Brad McDonald said too. I got to find him. But I noticed something on here. So I punched in SPYDER CFL Red Zone rule Facebook page, okay, and here down, it has two of them here in a post, and here below it, and I don't know when this was posted. Now listen to this. I have to cover this. This has to be covered before I get into my main session. CFL chatter. And this nice guy says this guy could be a game changer. So he posts this. Check it out. You have to check this out. Because you see the sleazebags that made comment. So radical leftist sleazebag liberals, I'm sure. This is George L. Rogers, and I commend you, George L. Rogers, that this guy could be a game changer. And the title of mine, he says, SPYDER CFL Red Zone Rule, the biggest blockbuster proposed new rule ever. And then problematic Canadian ratio. So this Christopher Jones is Let's Talk CFL, and he's been against my rule because he's jealous. He's a radical leftist liberal, and he pretends not to be, but that's what he is. That's who he voted for, Trudeau. That's for sure. And he's very jealous. And if you look up the word jealous, it's basically equal hatred. You know, jealousy. And you think about in your lifetime how many jealous people there are. It's unbelievable. They're jealous if you have a better job. They're jealous if you're more educated. They're jealous if you're better looking. They're jealous if you have a better car. They're jealous if you have a house and they're living in an apartment. I'm not kidding you. They're jealous if you're more popular with the girls. They want to beat you up. Like this, even from when I was in high school or junior high and so forth. Same thing. They're so jealous, it's unbelievable. They don't ever praise you. They don't compliment you. I mean, you can have parents that are jealous of their own kids. That's how bad it is. And that's emotional abuse, by the way. But the jealousy equals hatred. And there's so many. There's so many in Canada. Look what they do to their own brand of football. Look at Bell. Look what they do. Like, it's unbelievable. And Jennifer Jones, like, it's Christopher Jones. Yeah, Jennifer Jones, yeah. Christopher Jones, you know what he says? He says, this is not new. He's been proposing this for years. It was stupid then, and it has not improved in age. He doesn't even know anything about my rule. He hasn't got a clue. You know what he said one time on one of his Let's Talk CFL? And I'll never listen to him again. You know what he said? He says, oh, it's 4-down football. It's not 4-down football, Christopher Jones. You don't even know what a down is. And you don't even know what a football down is. That's how bright you are. What's a football down? A football down is when, okay, you hike the ball, okay? You got a 20-second snap in the CFL. You hike the ball, you can throw the ball, you can run the ball, you can lateral the ball, okay? You can kick the ball, you can run the ball. That's a down, okay? All right? That and more, okay? My CFL Red Zone rule is not 4 downs, okay? Okay, it's an enforcement rule in the red zone that if you need the 3rd down to score a touchdown in the red zone, rather than more boring 2-down unappealing football stops in the red zone that are repetitive, nobody wants to see, that fans boo because they want them to go for it for 3rd down, there's my rule, my CFL Red Zone rule. That's why it's so popular. That's when all the people I surveyed, and I serve as CIS players, football players, and they were blown away by it. I went over all that in all my sessions, video sessions. They're all blown away by it, okay? And because it would make our game way better, okay? Because it would eliminate the 2 biggest killers and turn off some CFL 3-down game of football in the red zone. That being unappealing 2-down football stops, repetitive 2-down football stops in the red zone, resulting in more boring, predictable, non-eventful, distasteful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone. What would you rather have? Those completely eliminated, my CFL Red Zone rule, are more and boring 2-down football stops in the red zone and more boring, monotonous, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone, okay? What would you rather have? Because you only go for it in the 1 yard line in the CFL. They're basically playing two-down football. What would you rather have? Okay, more exciting touchdown scored in the red zone with Spyder's CFL red zone rule, because it will guarantee an 18% increase of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams for a regular season CFL game, equaling 50 more touchdowns in the red zone. Can you imagine? Okay, what would you rather have, that or what Christopher Jones doesn't even know? He doesn't know what a down is, okay? Yeah, what's a down, Christopher Jones? Is obvious you don't know. And here's another clown idiot says he's right about the Canadian ratio. Thank you, but the red zone rule he's proposing is ridiculous. He doesn't even know anything about it. What are the 10, how can you say that? Do you know what the 10 key selling features and benefits, advantages of my rule is? Not only from the entertainment value side of my rule, but from the business side. Do you know what they are? You don't even know what the rule is, don't you? You don't even know what my CFL red zone rule is and what it can do. Like, you haven't got a clue. To make a statement like that, you're ignorant and you're jealous. Just like Christopher Jones, he's jealous. You're haters. You're radical leftist, liberal haters. That's who you are. Dummies, dummies, dummies. You know, you're just scumbags. That's exactly what you are. And anyway, so here's another one. What's the red zone rule? Listen to what he says. This is how ignorant they are. Radical leftist, liberal, hater, jealous. Jealous people. That's their haters because they're jealous people. That's what haters are. He said, what's the red zone? I don't want to watch 27 minutes to find out. Can you imagine, you radical leftist, sleazy lying? Because that's what you are. You believe all this leftist, all these criminal leftist, radical left, Democrats and liberal lies, and with their corrupt media lying to you a million times, because that's what you are. You're exactly like them. And that's why you make a statement like that. Because you're jealous and you're a hater. You're awful people. You're a scumbag for people. Here's another one. He says, hand egg isn't in the Olympics, so there really isn't a need for a ratio. Well, he said, thank God. He says that. So he says that, and that's it. That's it. But anyway, this guy puts up this great big, you should check it out, CFL chatter. This George L. Rogers, thank you. There's a toast for you, George L. Rogers. This guy could be a game changer. And the title he puts up, the one he picks, he says, Spider CFL Red Zone, the biggest blockbuster proposed new CFL red zone rule ever, or no proposed CFL rule ever. That's what he puts up. So you can find that. Go just Google Spider CFL Red Zone rule Facebook page, and then you see CFL chatter, and then he says this guy could be a game changer. And then you read the sleazebags. Okay? And you know what you should do? Comments. You should counter them and call them what they are, and support my rule, and say why you support my rule, and go on there and post, make a post. Okay? My supporters and the people that are common sense people and good people, not jealous people, not haters. Okay? I worked 5 years on this rule, over 5 years on this rule, Christopher Jones. You don't even know anything about football. You think you know everything. Yeah, because you're just jealous. You're jealous of my rule. They're all jealous of my rule, right? Just like they're all jealous of Donald Trump, you know? Because they couldn't buy him off, but they loved him before he ran. Oprah loved him. All the late night shows loved him. The Democrats and liberals, they loved him. They had their hands out. He gave to everybody. Oh, then when he ran, they couldn't buy him off, right? That he wanted to do the job for the people, which he did. He had the greatest economic numbers ever. And look at his record and compare with a crooked Biden, who never won. They stole the election. It's obvious they did. I mean, there it is. And that's why they tried to kill him. Because they knew he won the election last time. They knew he was going to win this time, but they couldn't rig it this time. That's why they tried to kill him, because Trump was too smart. He had lawyers in place, okay? So they couldn't steal the election. But they did in the swing, not the swing states, but they did in Kamala Harris's crooked states where the judges would allow no voter ID. Imagine. So you know, Trump probably won half of those states too. Yeah, he won 312 seats. Imagine. He got won them. He won the popular vote, and they won the Senate and they won the House. And he's picking good cabinet ministers too. He's going to clean up, man, clean up their corruptness and clean up the swamps, like Leon Musk said. But anyway, let's get back to my. Okay, it's 14 minutes. Let's get back to it. I was going to talk about my numbers on my CFL red zone rule, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Canadian ratio again, and give you a different perspective as well. Okay, on that. Okay, so Okay, where's my CFL Red Zone Rule presentation though? Okay, here's what I want to find out, because I want to see, that's a problem. How am I going to find this one? But anyway, there were, yeah, I'm just looking at this, okay. So basically, yeah, so, okay, on the average, 54.8%, there would be a guaranteed increase of 18% of more touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams, resulting 50 more touchdowns. That's what I said, scored in the red zone, for a total 200 points. And that's what I said, okay? So that's not where, no, that's not where this is. This is, okay, okay, I think it's where my, I'm sorry, people. I wanted to read Brad McDonald's, I'm sorry. But anyway, there is actually a number that does equal 70 touchdowns scored in the red zone. Okay? And it is. You can find it on my Facebook page, I'll tell you that much. I didn't put it up, I couldn't find it, so can't find it. Okay? Alright, so but you can find it, and it's there, and it's accurate, okay? It is accurate. So there you go. So anyway, getting back, before I will find Brad McDonald's, I will read it. I want to talk about the Canadian Ratio again, okay? And the 111th Grey Cup. And by the way, it's not the 100th. It's hard. It's easy to say that. Some mistakes I made, but it's the 111th Grey Cup, and they got about 50,000 seats sold, so that's pretty good. Anyway, cheers. Here's for all the decent people, the fans, and I tell you, some of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I went on the Saskatchewan Roughrider forum too, you know what, on one of my sessions, and they were running, I put my CFL Red Zone when they were doing the same thing, and I threatened them to call and have the police in charge them and sue them, and they took everything down, thank God, because I would have sued them. They're a bunch of bullies, I mean, because those people are radical, leftist, jealous, hateful people. That's exactly who they are. Because any decent person would never do that. Would never bully you. Would never try to run down my CFL Red Zone. Something I worked for 5 years. I did a survey. And you know, here's another thing. Getting back to what I showed you in that CFL chatter, what he said. Thank you, Mr. Rogers, about, you know, that could be a game changer in my CFL. Thank you very much. Do you think Farhan Lodgy, he's not a bad person. He's not a radical leftist liberal hater, jealous person. He endorsed my role. He's a TSN / CFL reporter, and he does CFL broadcasting. He does games too. He's a classy guy. You think he's stupid? He said he would vote for my rule to make it part if they ever come up for vote to have the CFL adopted. He endorsed my rule. By the way, before getting in Canadian Ratio again, I sent out my audio pitch, right, on my CFL Red Zone Rule that I played my last session. I did some crazy little things. Okay, sorry about that. This made too much noise. Sorry about that, you know. And anyway, so I sent it to Rob Vanstone, and he sent it back, and he still wants my CFL Red Zone Rule made part of it, and he endorsed it. He's still for it. And he wants to see it made part of a CFL 3-down game. He says, "Spidey, keep me informed." I sent it out also to a CEO for the BC Lions that's really interested in it. The audio, I sent it to. I sent everything to the CPA. You know, that's why I want to talk about the Canadian Ratio and give a different view and why I say what I say about it. To the Canadian Players Association, the audio and my presentation, I asked them to send it all. My CFL Red Zone Rule president, send it all to the CFL players. Now, whether they will or they won't. You know. I know, you know, some of the Canadian players who know that I'm against the Canadian Ratio, that for that reason they wouldn't be for my rule, but all the American players would, but all the quarterbacks would, okay? Anybody with a brain, which they do, they're smart football players, professional football players. I know all American players be all for my CFL Red Zone, every one of them, okay? Some of the Canadian Ratio players, a lot of them that are in the CFL, most, they all are, they wouldn't be because I'm against the Canadian Ratio. But, hey, you know what? It only takes one person, and CFL players, American players, to get behind me CFL Red Zone. One prominent person stop at the plate, and that's what I said when I sent out the email. That's all it takes, okay? But it can't be silenced and suppressed anymore. That's what I said to him. It's got to be exposed, and I'm going to expose it. I'm going to get it to Jamie Nines, my blitz, I'm going to go into radio station with my blitz because I can use my real good system at my desktop, my Acer desktop, and man, I can really reproduce it well and amplify it, and it'll be unbelievable over the radio. I got a really good mic system over there, so it'll be really good. But look at the time going. So anyway, so imagine, okay, and Steve Armitage has done 27 Grey Cups and who endorsed my rule and gave it a stamp approval, and Mr. Vanstone, who's been an author, wrote a really famous book on the famous Grey Cup in I believe '89, Saskatchewan Roughriders and Hamilton Tigers. The first one, the Sky Dome. I mean, he's a legend, an icon. So is Steve Armitage. He's a legend, Canadian sports legend and icon. And Fire and Lodge is very popular. He's very ripe and very knowledgeable. You know, so you got all three of them endorse my rule, and you think that they're people like this? Are they people like this? No, because they took the time to read and focused on all my features, all my 10 key selling features and benefits and advantages of my rule, not only from the entertainment value side, but the business side as well. They went over my rule in detail, all the stunning data and numbers, and the 18% guarantee, 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone with my CFL red zone rule. Amongst 9 CFL teams for a regular CFL season, they went all the whole. You have to really focus on the whole. My CFL red zone rule and the rules and the optional provision part too as well makes it 100% foolproof. Everything that's in there, it's all detailed and outlined. And then they did. That's what they did, and that's why they approved it, endorsed it. But these people, they're probably not even smart enough to understand it. Even my CFL red zone rule in a nutshell. You know, if I gave them a brochure, they probably wouldn't even wipe their ass with it. They'd just throw it away. I mean, like, I wouldn't give it to them. I don't want people like that. And you're outnumbered, buddy, or people, or Christopher Jones, people like, you're outnumbered. Nobody listens to your Let's Talk CFL bullshit show because you're not a good person. You're not a good person. But anyway, I want to talk about Canadian Ratio before this session ends, and just a little bit about the 111th Grey Cup. Okay? Okay, Canadian players, okay? I'm as Canadian as it gets. You see, I play the Guess Who. I'm a real Guess Who fan, my favorite band ever. When we grew up, that's why we had a band, because of what the Guess Who did first. They set the precedent. They did it first. They paved the way. They outsold the Beatles, the Doors, the Cretans, and the Rolling Stones in 69, 70. From Winnipeg, Canadian band, the highest record sales in the world, the biggest band on planet Earth. Imagine, who they knocked out the Beatles off. Now, American Woman stayed on worldwide record charts, Cashbox, and Billboard charts for 3 straight weeks. And No Sugar Tonight was there with it the 3rd week. Imagine. I mean, they're now up to 60 million albums sold, or records sold, total. Okay? But anyway, I want to get back to, so I'm as Canadian as it get. I had all BlackBerry. I wish they still had their phones and the best software ever, and best tablet ever, playbook ever made. Blow Apple away. Okay? Anyway, Canadian Ratio, Canadian players out there, and CIS players and college players. And you know, a lot of you don't even watch the CFL. You only watch the NFL. And look at this country, how many young kids and college, I mean not college, but not only high, but minor league football. Minor league football. They play 4-down football and they NFL jerseys on. You imagine, their own country should be all CFL. So that's why you're fired, Brosy. You're terrible, okay? I wish I was commissioner, I'll tell you. There's no exposure, there's no hype, there's no promotion. Right now, the Grey Cup, yes, they do, but they got to do that all year during the CFL season. And we got to promote our game and our CFL game of 3-down football over the NFL game, okay? And it's got to be everywhere too. That's why we need a new commissioner, okay? No more one-year contracts, get rid of the Canadian Ratio. Sorry, Canadian players, you have to make, look, I want the best Canadian players to play in the CFL, but you have to make the roster on merit. You have to actually make the roster like the American players have to. Why should you be automatically given a spot to fill a Canadian Ratio? Because of your passport. If you're not good enough to make the team. If you're not good enough to be on the roster. Like the American players have to make the roster. There's no ratio for American players. There's no ratio in any successful professional sports league. The majority of them don't have any of that foolishness. They'd be out of business. That's why the CFL, all the empty seats in the CFL. You got to allow the best available players to play. And if that are Canadians, then Canadians, you have to You have to make the roster. You have to make a starting spot. Okay, the Canadian ratio's got to go. You got to be good enough. And by the way, if I own the CFL, I'd recruit the best Canadian players. And you got to remember, there are 36 of them down in the NFL. And they're not coming back to the CFL. How does that help the CFL? Okay, you can't have a Canadian CFL draft because the top players you can't even draft. They don't even go to the combine. You got to have an open draft, CFL draft. So I want the best Canadian players to play in the CFL, but only the ones that want to play in the CFL, not the NFL. And they have to make a CFL team, make a roster, and make a Canadian starter spot. Okay? They have to make it. Okay? They deserve to make a roster spot in the CFL team, deserve to, and be a starter on the CFL team, like the Americans have to. Okay? So anyway, that's the way it's got to be. And the Canadian players would be a lot more respected than the CFL, and the CFL would have a much better product to sell. And you need to practice more than 4.5 hours. The NFL practices 8 hours. You got to at least practice 6 hours, okay? The Canadian ratio has to go. The one-year contracts have to go, okay? You can't get out of your contracts, quarterbacks or any players. You have to, a 2-year minimum contract that you have to honor, okay? And you need SPYDER CFL red zone rule, which would be the biggest rule ever adopted by the CFL, and eliminate the 2 biggest killers in the red zone. That being too many boring 2-down football, repetitive stops in the red zone that are destroying our game and equaling what they result in. Too many non-eventful, distasteful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone, completely gone. And they're going to do a lot more, by the way. 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone with SPYDER CFL red zone rule. Guaranteed 18% increase of 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone. Listen, check out my CFL red zone rule Facebook page and check out that CFL chatter, and you'll see my 10 key selling features and benefits of my CFL red zone rule and more, and the stunning data and the numbers and all the advantages of adopting it. So CFL, then you'd have a product to sell. Listen, 100th Grey Cup coming. Argonauts, they're in tough, okay? Okay, Claris versus backup quarterback Arbuckle would be quite a story if they won the